Hello everyone, it is I, Wyatt the Stuff, and today I'm going to be ranking the 16 personality types. Starting with the intuitive perceivers, sensing judgers, intuitive judgers, and sensing perceivers. Now, this is from an actual INTP because I'm an intuitive perceiver. I can see multiple sides of things usually. So we're going to start with my own, and then we're going to go with my opposite, and then we're going to go with my kind of opposite, and then we're going to go with the opposite of that. So I might put, and I'm going to do this A to F, but I'll include an E tier because honestly, yeah, because it doesn't make any logical sense to go from A to F. Although I can see why we changed it based on the students writing excellent instead. Now, start things off. We're going to go with the intuitive perceiver types. We're going to start with my own first, which is INTP. INTP is obviously going to be in the A tier because I'll be able to do memory dumps on them, and they won't get frustrated or annoyed, especially if they have an interest in that, because that means we both have an interest, and they can memory dump on me, so I can get valuable information. Well, valuable in terms of the INTP's version of valuable, which is literally any piece of information that has completely logical basis. Sorry for going on a tangent. We do that a lot. Okay, but we will go on a lot of logical based things for sure. That's definitely how we would go. What's next? ENTP. It's either an A or a B. Probably an A if the ENTP is healthy, because they're more of an ambiverted type naturally, but they're still extroverted, so probably a bit more exhausting than the INTP. Might move them down to B because I might not be able to, just constant information without being able to logically process it right then. Well, it's either that or I will start thinking of random things, random ideas without this. And plus their conversations can be longer than the INTP, like myself, can handle. The next intuitive perceiver, INFPs. I know an INFP personally. Definitely A tier, because, or B. Yeah, probably A actually, because, I see the humanitarian side of things. They bring sometimes the emotional bias can, it's like, emotional bias from them just comes to me, and I'm like, can you think about this more logically so we can get somewhere else? Because FI-DOMs are so personalized in their own beliefs, it's ridiculous. It's also based on their feelings, although FI-DOMs in general are not bad people. INFP. What was I doing? INFP. Okay. INFPs are really big with their imagination, and I love that about INFPs. I love that about anybody. Well, love is a wrong word for that. What is it? Appreciate. Anyway. The next type, ENFP, probably the only intuitive perceiver I'm going to put in B tier, because I know you have a lot to say, and it has no logical basis, meaning I will probably not understand any of what you're saying. Just like you probably won't understand me, because we both go on a lot of tangents, and you talk all the time. Okay, I'm kind of guilty of that myself in some way. I guess we all are, us intuitive perceivers, unless, well, the more introverted ones are less likely to go on tangents because we're very selective about people in general. The sensing judger types. We're gonna start with the ISTJ. Probably an E tier because ISTJs are just... they're logical, they're rational, I respect that, but the problem with ESTJs is that they, not ESTJ, ISTJs are no nonsense. They will organize everything without asking you. Like, I'm sorry, but let me organize things the way I organize them, which is throw them around and remember them for later, and I always somehow find them. They do things their way. The next one, ESTJs, F, strong F tier. Actually, probably even more so than the ESFJ, which is also going to go into F, just for reference, because, yeah. ESTJ, the reason why is because ESTJs are a bit too traditional. They're so reliant on their logic, and they think that they're the best at everything, while not seeing the other perspectives, that it drives me insane. Now again, I can respect their hard work, like the ENTJ, but that's just what I have to say. ESFJ. ESFJ, as I said, is going into F. Simply because they're so reliant on other people's opinions that they can manipulate other people based on these assumptions about what... and they will try to manipulate certain people into doing what they want. Not... what I mean by doing what they want, I'm doing what the ESFJ wants them to do. They might try and fix, like, intuitives who are intuitive thinkers, or, well, basically the analysts or the intuitive thinkers. But yeah, the next one, ISFJ. That's the last one. ISFJs are going into probably even a D tier, because they're willing to do anything for a person. I can respect that they have a structure and not time blindness. The problem is the structure is a bit too inflexible for unflexible. What's the opposite of flexible? Inflexible. Okay, anyway, ISFJ. What was I about to say? They're really, their schedules are not flexible, and plus they're too based on emotions. Again, that's a problem with them. Intuitive judges. We're gonna start off with the one I know, INTJ. I know an INTJ personally, and I'm gonna say B tier because you guys are really efficient in what you do, but sometimes you have tunnel vision, and sometimes you get triggered by literally anything that is a different perspective than yours. You're not as bad as a sensing judger. You're not that bad, but you have really good ideas for sure. The good thing about you, and then I'm going to rank you higher than the INFJ, is because you have the ability to see my logical processing and be able to respect it enough, and then you'll be able to recognize where you're wrong. Sometimes. Well, a lot of the time, because you're so focused on the logic behind everything. Just like I am. We could take over the world, possibly. I would be the one making up the ideas, and you would probably be the one actually planning it. Although I'm not really gonna plan on that because I don't have any interest in taking over the world. Anyway, the next one, ENTJ. ENTJs, I'm gonna have to put them in the C tier because I know they're a bit controlling, if you want to put it that way. Their TE is so strong that it just wants to pull us in, and it exhausts me. And once they realize that an INTP is good at something, they will try and make you realize your potential. That potential for us INTPs is what we are planning on doing. Well, it's what the potential we want to do, not the potential that relies on societal norms. I don't want to call them stupid because they really aren't stupid. The next one, INFJ. You're gonna psychoanalyze me and probably say I have, well, I'm suppressing wounds, but in reality I'm not. So I'm gonna put you in the C tier. Because again, you have a lot of ideas, for sure, but you use them to understand people instead of thinking about the logical processes of the world. Then again, I can respect FE users more than... it's hard to look at FI users. It really is hard to look at FI users. It's easier to look at FE users because FE is actually in my function stack. Yeah, I can see how they would want to be that way, but I just don't think that an INFJ is probably going to get higher than a C, personally. Anyway, the last one of this one, ENFJ. ENFJ. I have so many nice things to say about you. Not really, because you're really intuitive and you want people to do things that you want, that's in your vision, that's not in reality. I mean, you're intuitive, you're good at small talk, but you need to stop controlling people like the ESFJs, okay? I don't understand where you get this idea where controlling people means better. However, we're going with the sensing perceivers. Thank you, sensing perceivers, for probably having to wait this long, or just skipping this already. Sensing perceivers, ISTP, B, because ISTPs are TI DOMs, like myself, meaning we look at things through logical lenses. The problem is, you have no regard for the other ideas that are there. You're so reliant on your senses that you could probably be a little bit impulsive, although you're not stupid. I just think that you might be focusing too much on survival and not learning for the sake of learning, because it's fun. ESTP. Probably a B, a C, not a B, a C or a D, because, actually probably F, because, no, not F. E, because ESTPs are impulsive, and they have no regard for making any sense of the logical process. Well, they have TI as their... It's just that if they try and drag me into something, I will get really angry. But on the plus side, ESTPs have a logical side and are not stupid. Then again, these personalities aren't really stupid on their own. Besides, no, they're not stupid. They're intelligent in their own way. Because everyone is intelligent in their own way. ISFPs are really emotionally sensitive people. But the problem is that they're too Impulsive, again, this is a repeating pattern with the sensing perceivers, including, I think even the ISTP, I think I even said that, ISFPs can be really impulsive and really meaningful, and ESFP, F. And there's a reason I'm putting them in F is because you're too reliant on your senses. You go boom, 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 without thinking about the processes, not based on your internal values, but on what's going on at the moment in sensory detail. Now remember, this seventh one, your seventh function is your blind spot. Since mine is SE, I don't really get SE too much because that's my blind spot and it's the dominant. How do you rely on your senses to go boom? I'm sorry, but my senses tell me nothing. They tell me nothing about the abstract, and I love the abstract. The abstract is what I'm usually in. You have no plans or ideas at all to put into reality. Anyway, that's all I really have to say. Now remember, this is my personal opinion. Everyone has a different opinion because everyone's a different person, and everyone has a different sense of their logic or feeling, and everyone has a different sense of everything. Was this video completely honest? Honestly, yes. It really was the most, probably, because you know how INTPs usually are about people. We're going to be honest about it. Now, I don't know what you need to take away from this, besides the fact that INTPs find most people annoying. Actually, that's a bit of a overstretch. Yeah, that is, it's 50-50, depends on the person. Anyway, in general, you should be kind to others, considerate, and that's all I really have to say.